Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's your girlfriendly drama queen, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new Netflix Korean drama that dropped called The Glory. Before we get into it, do make sure to subscribe, join our little community here discussing everything Asian drama related. All right, so I wasn't actually planning on watching this show, but it had a couple of things going for it. I mean, I just couldn't help myself. Number one, it had Sung Hye Kyo, who I love as an actress, and I thought, I have to give it a try. And number two, it was only 8 episodes. I'm like, yay, finally, only 8 episodes. And 3, it was written by Kim Eun-suk, who is responsible for a string of dramas like Descendants of Sun, Heirs, King Eternal Monarch, and much more. Secret Garden. Okay, so it is a record. I didn't like all of those dramas from her, but I do know that it's at least good, decent writing. So that's something to look forward to. Just a quick side note, I just have to rant about this one more time. I really, really hate this trend of multiple seasons. Can't we just stop doing that? Because this one has a season 2 coming up. Like, they just dropped a part 1 and they're gonna drop a part 2. So when I heard that, I was just like, it made me really not want to watch it. But I was curious enough, so I still gave it a shot. Okay, so here's a quick summary of the plot. It's essentially basically about a woman who is getting revenge on her high school bullies. She basically dedicates her entire life to becoming a preschool teacher so that she can integrate herself in the life of her tormentors, her major tormentor, by becoming a preschool teacher to the bully's child. Okay? Now, that sounds interesting. I was hooked. But my initial feelings towards the show as I started to watch it, just like the initial first 2 episodes, I thought it was very, very dark, very uncomfortable to watch. School violence and its depiction in Korean drama is not a new thing. There's a lot of dramas on it, but this is like one of, if not one of the harshest depiction I've ever seen. Like, they bring you up close. It was hard to watch. I had to fast forward past some scenes because it was just like, I felt like it was gonna give me nightmares. Like the actors who played the bullies, they give them the awards. Like the girl who played the young character, Moon Dong-eun, give her awards, because when she was crying and when she was suffering in the first 2 episodes, I was like, oof, I might not make it through this drama. It was a lot. Oh my gosh. And I think the mood of the show just doesn't let up. It's dark, it's quiet, it's like, it just makes you have no choice but to absorb just how helpless the characters feel in the way that she's portrayed. But there's a scene where she's so over the situation, she goes out and then she starts basically about to unalive herself, and she comes to a ledge, but then it's snowing, and then she starts like rubbing the snow all over her wounds because it's cooling her down. And I think that shot where she's just like huddled in the snow is such a pretty shot, but also so sad. Like, I had to pause this so much times because I don't think this is a show that you want to be binging because it's quite heavy. But I stuck around because I wanted to see how this revenge is going to play out. I mean, for the drama to bring us in that closely to the characters, to come face to face with the amount of violence she endured, you as the audience are looking for murder. You want, burn them all. Burn all the bullies. So let's talk about the characters I hated the most. I mean, this is no hot take. This is no hot take. Because between all the 4 of them, the 4 bullies, like, you have a self-obsessed class A witch. I could say more about her. You have the druggie, you have a psychopath and his violent lackey, and then you have a money-hungry, vapid demon. And Of course, those characterizations make for a very interesting dynamic in that friendship. But damn it, Jae-jun, just there's a special place in hell for that guy. Like, I was scared for the female lead. Even when she grew up and she was very determined, she basically made Yeonjin, who's the main bully, the pretty psychopath. She made her dream, is what she told her. And when she grew up and became the teacher, she would be meeting up with them one on one. And I'm just like, girl, how are you doing this? These people literally, they basically wanted to kill you. And it's crazy to see a character like hers be so broken down. Like, they really did break her physically and emotionally, but she's still able to be in that proximity with them and put on, even if it's a semblance of a smile, she still put on a smile. And I'm just like, oof, could not be me. Even like watching the school scenes, I just kept thinking, but she could have just left the school. Like, why didn't she just drop out or run away? Because anything other than staying or trying to report them was helpful. Like, her life was legitimately in danger. So it didn't make sense to me. So number one hated character for me is Jae-jun. Obviously, there's just something about him that creeped me out from just my TV. I just, no thanks. Yeonjin, of course, those are the two main bullies. Yeonjin is just, oof. One thing I will say though about this show, it had 8 whole episodes, and I'm just gonna say it was all set up, because I haven't seen actual revenge. And one thing that drew me into the story is I'm wondering, how does her becoming a preschool teacher actually end up manifesting revenge? Like, how is that? Because aside from pure murder, like physical torture and then murder of these bullies, nothing else is satisfying as a revenge. Yeah, I want blood. And I think the audience will want blood too if you saw how physically. I can't get stuck. I am getting stuck at the type of school violence that was depicted on the show. And that is just relentless cruelty, relentless physical torture. She really, really suffered. And for someone to endure all of that and still be moving, I'm like, that's the realism that I'm not sure I buy. But okay. I will say a note on the love line, because this is a Korean drama after all. They will try to put a love line if they can. And this one, I just didn't want it. It's like I had such a strong stand against it that every time he would pop up on the screen, I'm just like, I gotta fast forward this. I don't want to know. And I think something that this show is suffering from is it has so much going on. They bring you into the lives of at least 6 or 5, even more than that, more than 6 characters. You get in a detailed backstory, and it's like, I can't keep up. I don't want to know. So I especially did not want to know whatever backstory they were going to give to her potential love interest. And I know the show didn't go all the way to actually act on that love line, but it insinuated enough for me to be repulsed. I'm like, I don't want to know nothing about this guy. One of the main symbolisms that I loved in the show, actually, that maybe explains its pace, is how they use the game of Go, which is, I think, the chess equivalent. It's a chess equivalent game for, I don't want to mischaracterize the origin of that game. And I love the visualization of moving the pieces on the show. And it probably helped to explain that this whole part 1 was a setup, because all she did was make a bunch of moves, talking to different characters. I don't think the act of the revenge itself was carried out. It was just a lot of taunting, a lot of talk, a lot of manipulation, which is, I stand that. But that is a symbolism I do like. I'd love to see it continued in season 2. So in general, I am torn because I hate shows with multiple seasons. This is not my usual type of watch because it's dark. It's just heavily dark. There's not a lot of romance in it, and I don't want the romance. I just want bloody murder, and I hope that season 2 delivers that. Let me know, what do you think of the show? Are you tuning in for part 2? I want to hear from you guys. Till next time, catch you at our next video. Bye.